Is China cutting its losses, cut and run, you could say, foreseeing a Trump-led recession in the United States? You see, there's clear evidence now. There's clear evidence that China and Japan and other major economies are, well, looking in on the United States and saying, hang on, that's not for me. Anyway, before I get into it, you press con and boop the old like button. And maybe subscribe to the channel and, that little bell icon, because you get one fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. But it is deeply concerning, you see. Not just for you guys in the United States, but for every major Western economy, including the United Kingdom. We all know that when the United States sneezes, the United Kingdom catches a cold. Pretty much every Western economy. You see, the United States dollar is the global currency. Now, I know the BRICS are looking to have their own currency, and Donald Trump's threatening them with a 200% tariff. Oh, that man. I know he says it's a beautiful word, but the way he wants to implement these tariffs is just... It's just a threat and a tool to try and get his own way. But, it's like the boy who cried wolf. They know his tactics now. You see? They know what Donald Trump's about. And they're not likely to play ball, no. Instead, what they're doing is they're looking in on the United States now and saying, that's not a safe bet. Many of them are pulling their investments, but also selling government bonds in the United States. Now, government bonds is basically it's a promise. You're selling a promise that, basically a loan. China invests in the United States in the form of these bonds, and then the government has money to spend. And they might spend that on infrastructure or, building stuff, maybe a new road or I don't know, whatever. But also sometimes for services because they don't have enough money coming in because there's not enough growth. You see, growth has to, it has to match your inflation within reason. You want your growth to be higher. You want more money coming in. But not so it's so flipping crazy that effectively the inflation goes through the roof. But you see, Japan and China, well, they've just shed around 130 billion in government bonds in the US. Now, if you're in the UK, basically they're the gilts. Now, currently they've got a huge amount of debt in the US, around 36 trillion, which is way over the GDP. So it's not, I think the GDP is around 25 to 29 trillion at the moment. I can't actually remember, to be honest. But it's still, way over. Now, what this does is, you see, when you get these countries like China and Japan, and they shed huge amounts of these bonds, US bonds, well, it floods the market, just like anything else. The house prices are high because there's not enough houses. You flood the market with loads and loads of houses, the prices will come down because you've got oversupply. And that's what happens in the bond market. If there's too many bonds out there available to sell, it brings the value of the bonds down. Same with gilts, it brings the value down. And that currently it's gone down around 4%, which makes it harder for a government to be able to borrow the money because it's got less value. You see? And interest rates go up on government borrowing massively. It's difficult, you see, because there's reality and then there's sentiment. Now, countries and, like say, industry as well, it reacts to sentiment, feelings. If something happens, if they hear Donald Trump open his mouth, all of a sudden there's scare, there's fear, and oh crikey, what are we going to do? Oh, well, so let's get rid of a few more of those bonds, bring down the value a little bit more each time. Now then there is reality. The effects on the economy for actual things that happen, such as the COVID pandemic, for instance, the war in Ukraine. War in Gaza, all these things affect the economy. Sanctions affects the economy. Now, unfortunately, all this stuff, and obviously with Donald Trump coming into power as well, scaring off the markets and Yeah, I know we had. Let me get something straight here, right? When Donald Trump came into power, right? Not into power, sorry. He won the election. He might as well have come into power because he's going around pretending he's the president in charge. I don't know where Biden is. I don't know. But anyway, Donald Trump's flirting around and getting invited to all these blooming countries by all these leaders, such as Emmanuel Macron and all the others. And what the heck is going on? That's not even allowed. You're not supposed to do that. In fact, when Donald Trump tried to do that, when Biden was coming into power originally, in his term, Donald Trump was doing exactly the same tactics. And then Barack Obama called up Donald Trump, can you please stop doing this? And Donald Trump actually said, yes, okay. And he did. He stopped. All very amicable. But this time, Donald Trump is just pretending he's the president of the United States. Next thing you see, he'll be doing recording videos and what have you. You know, the press releases and stuff, standing in front of a helicopter. You can hear the helicopters whirring across his head. That's what he normally does, isn't it? God. So this all these sentiment you see, and Donald Trump telling everybody it's going to be tariff. He's scaring the markets. Right? And when he got into power, he boosted the markets. Everyone thought, oh, okay, we're going to bring down taxes and stuff like that. It's going to be a big boost. Oh, he's favourable towards cryptocurrencies. That's gone through the roof. You know, it's over 100,000 now. And it's just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It's not necessarily reality. So when the reality sets in, usually what happens, it just plummets. It drops like crazy. Now, the problem here is that when we get this supply of bonds, it increase, bond values decrease, which means the borrowing cost increases. You get economic downturn, and you get, for instance, loans and mortgages and stuff like that. They will end up becoming more expensive because the inflation will start going up, because these are all inflationary measures, and, well, interest rates go up, because that's how they deal with it. Increase interest rates. I fear that this recession is going to be long and it's going to be deep. Now, there's so much, not just government debt, but also personal debt, private debt, people's cars, loans, credit cards. The never, you know, the stuff that God, it's not unusual, right? For individuals to have, let me just show you something, right? You see this? They were my credit cards, okay? There's just a few, isn't there? All right? The never, all right? Let that be a lesson to you, okay? I chopped them up and put them on the barbecue and stuck them all together. So never gonna have debt again. Not like this. Okay, you get your bills, your electric bills, effectively that's debt. But, you know, no more debt for me. I ain't got no credit cards or anything like that. I won't do it because of that. And the reason I've got this is because in the last recession, back in 2008, my business was hit hard. Like many other businesses in the next recession. It's likely to be sort of spring next year. That's what they're talking about. That's what they look. Yeah, it's not looking good, I'll tell you. Spring's not really that far away, is it? Donald Trump will come in. If he does what he said he's going to do, the markets is just, it's just going to go crazy. And people have no bloody money. Everything's going to become more expensive. You're not going to be able to get what you want because of these tariffs. People won't be importing stuff. It's just going to be an absolute mess. So what happened is I had to get, use these credit cards to pay my employees' wages. And that's what happens to businesses. Now, if you're honourable, what you do is you make sure the people who work for you get paid so they can feed their families and stuff, you know, pay their mortgages. Until finally I had to shut up shop. Couldn't get any more credit cards. So yeah, I had a huge amount of debt which I had to pay off. So don't do it. If you can get away with not having any debt, credit cards especially, they're the worst. And all these buy now, pay later things, don't do it. Just don't do it. Honestly. The amount of times people get caught out on those things, I forgot that sofa after the 12 months. Buy now, pay later. All of a sudden I have to pay this at some stupid, ridiculous interest rate. The idea is you're supposed to pay the debt off at the end of the 12 months or whatever it might be. So It's just, yeah, buy now, pay later is a dangerous thing because people forget they got them. Now, too much debt in the United States in regard to the national debt, but also individuals' debt. People tend to buy to their means. They spend too much money that they haven't really got, and quite frankly, it's the middle classes that get hit on this because they just spend. You know. And all of a sudden, they lose their jobs. The whole thing turns upside down. They're the ones employing the people who may be the working class and what have you. And they lose their jobs. The whole thing just goes to pot. And this is what we're going to be looking at with the Donald Trump government, and that the actual bond markets are in disarray because it's not just China and Japan selling off US debt. Where there's no confidence, political confidence. So we've got problems in the United, in France, for instance, because there's no political confidence. Now Germany, since Schulz has just been had no confidence vote and he lost, says that there's no political confidence there. There's no stability. And then we've got what's going on in the United Kingdom. I don't know if I even want to go there. And the Brexit. Oh my giddy aunt. The United Kingdom's got no growth. And this is my opinion. I don't necessarily want this to happen, but Scotland needs to get out. And Northern Ireland needs to be, amalgamated with Ireland. It just, they can't go on like this. Brexit is dragging them down in Northern Ireland, and Brexit is dragging Scotland down. It's like flipping sinking ship. And Donald Trump is going to drag the people down in the United States just to facilitate his Project 2025. Okay, it's not his. He's just the patsy. All right? He's just the big mouth. Donald Trump thinks he's in control, but Donald Trump has got such an ego. All you got to do is tickle his fancy, and then he's anybody's. Like Putin's, for instance. And that is another flippin' story for another time. You tell me what you think. Please leave it in the comments down below. This should really have everybody quaking in their boots. Or high heels. Whatever you're into. Okay. Toodaloo.